and then returns to assumptions of poverty has not truly assumed wealth at all. He has merely entertained a pleasant thought. But the man who assumes wealth and persists in that assumption, who lives from it and thinks from it and feels from it regardless of what his senses tell him, will find that his assumption must externalize itself in his experience. This is not always easy, my friends. The world will challenge your assumption at every turn. It will show you evidence that contradicts what you assume. It will present you with circumstances that seem to prove that your assumption is false. But this is precisely when you must remember that appearance is not reality, that the external world is but the shadow of consciousness, and that shadows change when you move the light. When you persist in your assumption despite contradictory evidence, you are not being foolish or unrealistic. You are being scientific. You are conducting an experiment in consciousness. You are testing the law that states that consciousness is the only reality and that all else is but its expression. And like any good scientist, you must be willing to maintain your hypothesis in the face of initial contradictory results, knowing that the law will ultimately prove itself through your persistence. The great mystics and teachers throughout history have all understood this principle. They have all taught in their own way that the outer world is but the reflection of the inner world, and that by changing the inner, we change the outer.
So yeah, back to that again. So basically what he's saying that your outer world is nothing but is the echo of your inner world. So the things that you want and the things that you find valuable to you, you have to go within and you have to get them and you bring them out. But once again, it's like the law of correspondence. What happens in the inside is reflected on the outside. So you have to go inside and you have to change all that. You can't just get mad because you see something on the outside that is not serving you. You got to take care of that within. So yeah, that's basically what he's talking about on that.
They have all emphasized the importance of faith, of belief, of assumption, of living from the end, rather than living from the beginning. But what they often fail to make clear is that this is not a matter of religion or spirituality or metaphysics. This is a matter of psychology, of the very structure of consciousness itself. When you assume something, you are not invoking supernatural forces or appealing to external deities. You are simply using the natural creative power of your own consciousness in the way it was designed to be used. Consciousness is creative. This is its nature, its function, its purpose. It cannot help but create. It is always creating, always expressing, always manifesting. The only question is what it is creating. And what it creates is determined by what you assume, by what you take for granted, by what you live from. When you assume success, consciousness creates success. When you assume failure, consciousness creates failure. When you assume love, consciousness creates love. When you assume loneliness, consciousness creates loneliness. There is no judgment in this law, no morality, no favoritism. It simply creates what you assume.
So when he says no judgments, he's basically referring to, like, in the sense that the subconscious mind really doesn't care if you believe it or not. It's just more so what you're giving your attention to, what are you assuming. So there's really no, right or wrong to it. It's just what it is. It's just basically just going off of what are you giving your attention to. So that's basically what he's referring to.
Regardless of whether that assumption serves you or harms you. This is why it is so important that you become conscious of your assumptions. Most people are completely unconscious of what they assume about themselves and their world. They react to circumstances without ever questioning the beliefs that create those circumstances. They complain about their problems without ever examining the assumptions that generate those problems. They hope for change while maintaining the very consciousness that prevents change. But when you become conscious of your assumptions, you become the master of your fate. You realize that you are not at the mercy of external forces, but that external forces are at the mercy of your consciousness. You understand that you are not the victim of circumstances, but the creator of circumstances. You see that you are not powerless, but infinitely powerful through the creative power of assumption. This power is not reserved for the few or the gifted or the chosen. It is the birthright of every human being. It is the